All right, so welcome. This one is proof that God has a plan for Lucifer is enough for me that it's because the reason why it was just ticking for too long, and so I kind of lost my train of thought because it was really hard to get on here as alive. Um, it's proof enough for me that God has a plan for Lucifer just in the fact alone that the rapture has not happened yet. So I've been following God's will super obediently since at least 2021. I was only, how old was I in 2020? Like 31? Gosh, I didn't learn the gospel of salvation until 31 because people would always be like, Jesus died for your sins. And they would always say it like super mean. So I was like, okay, like I've always loved Jesus as soon as I can remember. But I also was like, I don't know what these people are talking about. And they sound super mean when they say it. So I was just kind of like going deeper into that because the people that were following Jesus were so mean. I was like, what the frick? But at some point around the age 30, 29, I wanted to understand the gospel of salvation. I want to know why Jesus died on a cross. And then I was already like super guided by the Holy Spirit, went into ufology and New Age. I kind of came out of it. I was like retiring from it because I found that a lot of these people mostly just wanted me dead. And I was like, well, man, probably don't want to hang out with you, but also like thanks for the experience. And it was just like me in my apartment. And I'm just like, I want to know why Jesus died. I want to know why he died. Like, and it took me so long because I didn't have any friends or family. Like, I didn't have any Christians around me to tell me what the hell happened. So I had to kind of pray to God and then dive into the Bible. It's not super easy if you're just like this person by yourself trying to figure it out. It's not the easiest thing to do. And I was guided to listen to the Gospel of Mark, recorded by David Suchet, on repeat. And I just listened to it on repeat until I figured it out. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And that is when I entered a new level of salvation, coupling on top of the salvation that I got in 2013 because I was experiencing violent poltergeist in my apartment that followed me to my parents' house. Like I moved out of the apartment into my parents' house because I thought my apartment was haunted. And then I learned that I was actually haunted because the violent poltergeist followed me to my parents' house. So it turns out something was the problem with me. And then I went to find a psychic medium who was very strong in the faith, but also very dualistic. And she explained to me that you need faith to cover your beliefs. I'd come into a new belief. I experienced a haunting and on top of that poltergeist. And now I have all these new beliefs, but I didn't have any protection. Though I'm always protected, it was another layer on top of that. She's like, you need to now, she didn't say it like this, but the way it was presented, she's like, you need to give your life to Christ and Michael as a protection or to crystals and dumb shit that I wouldn't, excuse my language, that I was just like I was naturally not into the crystals and the witchcraft. I was more leaning on Psalm 91 and the protection of Jesus and Michael. And life kind of calmed down, but I was also moving to Texas where, I came into these groups of people that were, after me. I didn't know. And then at some point, I was like, I really want to know the salvation of Christ. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand what happened. So I had to figure it out for myself. Listen to the Gospel of Mark on repeat. And I was like, oh, I finally get it. And then things ramped up from there. And it turned into post 2020 COVID, like world's going crazy. And it funneled me into the situation of the rapture, which I do believe in the rapture. And I was given a series of mercurial movements. So at the time, God said, watch Mercury's moves, because these are going to be really detrimental to the evolution of humanity. So I had a notebook and I wrote down the biggest mercurial moves, because that was the twin brothers, Michael, Lucifer, Cain and Abel. It's like, follow their movements and then also follow the movements of the enemy on those days. And I did for years, followed these movements. And I am a big believer in the rapture, but I also thought it would have happened by now. Even this time last year, we had one of the most violent winter storms, and I was laying in bed. It woke me up. I was like, is this it? Like, many times in recent years, I was like, is this it? And then early on, I wasn't ready. I felt like I could have done more. And then fast forwarding to recently, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely ready for this. Like, I have done all I could do, in my opinion. So the fact that the rapture hasn't happened yet is proof enough for me, coming into this new chapter of my life, that God has a plan for Lucifer and Lucifer's redemption. I created an image. It was Michael kills Lucifer in a sense, redeems Lucifer in a sense, and then Lucifer in turn kills Satan in a sense. God had a plan for Lucifer. That is why the rapture hasn't happened yet. This is my recent awareness. This is my new awareness. Because the rapture was really prime and ripe, and it wasn't a lie. Don't get me wrong. The rapture was never a lie. It was a threat and it was a weapon. And that is how I presented it time and time again. Listen, this was a threat. It was a weapon. If this world couldn't find mercy time and time again, that was possible. That is how I taught the rapture. These days come and go because it creates more mercy for the world. God of mercy, God of wrath. At some point, you're going to get the God of wrath. You're going to get what we need. That is not going to be provided by the mercy of God, but the wrath of God. And then those under the wings of mercy are protected in that scenario. So there will come a day where it marks the beginning and the end. The reason why the rapture hasn't happened yet is because God, the whole time, had a plan for Lucifer. And the whole time threatening the rapture was just to sharpen the faith of those falling under the wings of Lucifer to find where they stand and to be redeemed. Because there were people in this world that needed redemption, that were not ready. They had stake in the world, they had stake in the game, they had money, they had influence, they had skills in the world. They were not left to desolation, they were not left to poverty. They have wealth. Their wealth was gained through, this world is run by Satan. So Satan, coming upon that, even myself, everything that I gained in the world that was given to me by blind obedience to Satan, because I wasn't saved, was taken away. The car was taken away. The friends were taken away. The job was taken away. Everything was taken away. It didn't belong in the kingdom of God. It wasn't given to me by God. It was given to me by unknowing to me, the world that Satan created. So he took it all away. My hands are pink because I was cutting up beets. So yeah, all that being said, the reason why the rapture hasn't happened yet is because God had a plan for Lucifer. All right, check your comments. You guys got so much going on. What's up? Out of time. Hello, welcome. On Scene Last Battle, Jesus fights Lucifer in the arena. We battle the rest of them in the arena. And then, yeah, the remnant is redeemed. Exactly. There's an upcoming show in the sky very soon, hence epic drone battle, no doubt. Rage is in the chat. Good to see you, Rage. Michael and his angels versus the fallen. So this is big into the super soldier paradigm. I'm witnessing this in the super soldier paradigm. There's there's a funny phenomenon within the super soldier paradigm, because a lot of us got rescued out of the programs. So I don't consider myself a super soldier because I was in a fucking cage. Excuse my language. I was in a cage. So I don't consider myself a super soldier. I was locked in a cage. I'm not a super soldier. In real life, boots on the ground, sure, you can consider myself a super soldier, a surveillance state. The best of my awareness, I had a surveillance ability and I had a greater military connected to my eyes, connected to the boots on the ground that I was surveilling, and they operated on my behalf. This is very real. This is in the news. I could bring up news articles of things that have happened, but I'm not going to for legal reasons because I was part of a surveillance state in real life. In the super soldier paradigm, I was just a prisoner. And a lot of us got free. So the super soldier paradigm is dead because if you didn't get free from it, then you're a different type of creation. This time around was to get free from fallen and join the greater military. Join basically ordinary life. That's the biggest rebellion that you can do now, is to endure, and it is an endurance. It's not easy. It wasn't easy for us to endure ordinary life because we don't like this place, right? Because we were held captive, because we were prisoners of this place. We're in a prison planet. If you come down from above, this is like hell to us. So to create heaven on earth is a victory, to rise out of the prison planet scenario that we came down to endure. I'm just going to scroll through here. Out of time. Is pre-trib not staying here? Yeah, I mean, there is people who are pre-tribulation rapture, post-tribulation rapture. I do believe in multiple scenarios, 100%. Some people have nothing to stick around for, and that is totally valid, and that is, I think, totally true. A pre-tribulation rapture, I totally believe in, 100%. In the book of Revelation, from my objective Bible study, it sounds like there's 144,000 of you. That is a very small remnant. That is an unnoticeable amount of people. But 3.5 years later, Jesus comes back, everybody's included. And then also the reward of the ungodly. Those who were sold the lie from the devil, from Lucifer, sold the lie from Lucifer, who still cannot profess God. 3.5 years after the beginning of tribulation, they perish in a scenario where they feel like you're going to want death, but you're not going to be able to find it. It's going to be terrible for them. Terrible, because they were given a lifeline and they still did not create obedience to God. Lucifer's going to let them live for 3.5 years in their utopia that they think that they have created, and they still denounce God and God's ways. They're still living in sin. Those people are going to have the worst time of all, from my objective biblical study. So I don't think it's really fair to teach the rapture as if it could be anybody, but I do think that there is a reason for it, because it's like a race being run, and people can make it if they truly live in such obedience. It's supposed to be about Max Spears. Notice Max Spears' connection between Brittany and Max. James Casbolt is secondary to Max Spears. Well, but why did Max die from the world? I love Max Spears. I think he was a beautiful spirit, but there was something about the battle between James and Max, maybe in a gladiator situation. Gladiator situation. He didn't make it, unfortunately. And I don't think it was James Casbolt's doing. I don't think it was James Casbolt's choice, but somebody put Max Spears and James Casbolt down here in a gladiator situation, and Max Spears was the one who perished. And I don't want people to forget the fact that Max Spears shot James Casbolt in the head with a gun, and he survived. I don't think that is a lie. I don't think that is made up. I think that is a true story. So just want to point that out there. Do you think James Casbolt was going to shoot Max Spears in the head? I don't think he would do that, in my personal opinion. So I'm not just going to give some kind of like blind glory to Max Spears. I love Max Spears. The spirit lives on, but I'm not going to give some kind of blind glory to somebody who shot James Casbolt in the head, attempting to kill him, and he didn't die, and then went to his demise because he was dating the worst female I've ever encountered, meaning the darkest, most, I don't even want to say powerful, but the darkest female. And I know that Max was trying to get away from her, but his fate was written. His fate was written. I mean, the cards were stacked against him so badly. It was never going to work out. It was never going to happen. He was a very weak vessel, but he's probably very strong in the spirit. And he did leave us with a lot of really good information. So we honor the soul and the spirit. This world is not our final resting place. All right, moving on. Yeah, there's a greater military out there. That's why I barely pay attention to the news, because these people think they have plans and they don't. There's no way they could. I'm glad you guys are interacting in the chat. Cleopatra coming at you. Redemption of the story of Cleopatra and Julius Caesar. That is such a sad story. And Mark Antony is such a sad story. But it paints a picture about the fact, like with Mark Antony, like if like men can't handle an ordinary world. After war, most men can't handle an ordinary world. So they just run to Rome and they just listen to the music and drink all the alcohol and screw all the whores because they can't handle ordinary life. That's also representing a weakness. And that man is still alive, by the way. You know, in modern day, he's still living, but he's living in the own hell that he created karmically because he can't learn from his mistakes. He's still doing it. Men need, I guess, it's like you need to learn to live an ordinary life alone with God, a peaceful life, and or just sacrifice this world and follow Jesus Christ. He still hasn't done either of those. He's still living the exact same life that he lived before and time again. And it never works out because he was not the alpha. And I think he always knew he wasn't the alpha. He wasn't cut out to be the alpha. He's an archetype of most men in the world. And I have great sympathy for it because this world is such a beast. And he is such a beast. And I hope in the end days that the macro reflecting the micro can figure themselves out. Or I hope that they found home in Jesus Christ. It's almost like he's a Lucifer in some sense. It's almost like he's a little beast, and he is a little beast. He's a little beast. You know, the big beast is the biggest predator of all, and that was Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar was the biggest predator that we knew alive since he died. He was the biggest predator alive. He was what people revered as God. Jesus Christ didn't quite get that recognition because they thought him to be so extreme. But he was true, and who cares what people think, right? The bride of Christ, resonating with the will of Christ, then just be on out of here in the rapture. Hope I'm making sense. I know what I mean. Let me know if you have any questions. Oh my God, Blood Raw Truth, it's so good to see you. Long time no see. Sometimes things happen to people while in extreme distress, while reading Paul's apostles, and then you are changed from who you were before. Exactly. Great tribulation comes before the rapture. Well, I do believe in a pre-tribulation rapture and then another one, and then finally Christ comes back. But maybe not another one, but definitely if you can survive the 3.5 years, Christ comes back. The Antichrist is coming to kill people for the faith because you can't just suicide yourself. There's something karmically wrong with that. But if the Antichrist comes to offer you death in lieu of the mark of the beast, for Christ, you're going to take it willingly and happily. And you're going to be grateful to the Antichrist for that situation. As crazy as it sounds, don't threaten me with a good time. Don't threaten me with a good time. I've always wanted to die, but I in every past life, I was either murdered or I killed myself. And then this is kind of my karma. I'm not supposed to do either of those this time around. But if you were to ask me 5 years ago, like, you'd be like doing me a favor, get the frick out of here. I never wanted to be here. Never wanted to be here. You'd be doing me a favor. Dying in the name of faith, you'd be doing me a favor. Suicide is not the answer because I think there's some karmic backlash that comes with suicide. So the Antichrist is going to offer this option to people as a gift. As crazy as it sounds, I do believe it's going to be offered as a gift. Die in the name of your faith. Don't stick around. You don't have to. Come back again 3.5 years with Jesus Christ. If your faith is that strong and you want to do that, Jesus Christ comes back 3.5 years later, after the reign of the Antichrist. What's up, Box 5? Good to see you too. Sarah had be rescue Max from a prison. James won that. Sarah had be rescue Max. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't really quite understand. Yeah, the news is boring and there's too much of it. Politics is the Jersey Shore. I wish I could highlight this. Blood Raw Truth says, politics is the Jersey Shore for old people, right? It's like the boomer Jersey Shore. That's a good one. To bitch about tax dollars, inflation, and Social Security. Yeah, as a millennial, our retirement plan is societal collapse. Don't get it twisted. The millennial retirement plan is societal collapse. So what do you think is going to happen? A rebirth. Robbing the blind. Yeah, it's going to be intense for sure. But all that being said, I understand now the reason why the rapture hasn't happened yet, because it could have very easily happened back in 2021, is because God has a plan for Lucifer, for the harvest around Lucifer and his people, leveling up as God-fearing people, God-fearing. The retirement plan is freedom or death. Amen. The Antichrist is going to provide that economy. Rapture or death, it's all the same. Exactly, it's all the same. I've never had a fear of death. I've always wanted to die. Like, death is not the worst thing in the world. You know, it's funny because it hit home when I care for animals and they want to vaccinate the animals so badly. My dog has only 2 vaccines, and Jerry's all juiced up because I was under fear. I took him in under an emergency situation. He got stung in the eyeball, and I was under such fear that at the time I was just like, yeah, just juice him up. And he got all the vaccines, and he's doing good. He did have a UTI and almost died like a year ago. He does have a low white blood cell count, which I'm always considerate of. But when I got my dog, I was like, I'm not going to do that, because I just did it out of fear. Because in the fear about them telling you to get vaccines for your animals is like fear of them dying. Like, death is not the worst thing ever. The worst thing ever is living in hell. If my animals are going to have extreme allergies from all the vaccines, I'm sorry, but like, there's way too much illness amongst our pets. Where are they coming from? All of a sudden, all these pets that are all vaccinated are full of allergies, and then they get lymphoma, they get cancer. What? I grew up having animals. We never experienced this. This is a new thing. So I don't want to juice my animals up. And the vet, they promote it as if you're going to fear your pets dying. But that's not the worst thing ever. Death is not the worst thing ever. The worst thing ever is these poor animals living with such debilitating, like, defects from the vaccines. It's like death is not the worst thing ever. And even as a human, death is not the worst thing ever. King Jerry, exactly. Jerry's going to live forever. I want Jerry to live forever. I mean, my dog too. My dog is like an outdoor girl. She's like my security guard, and I love her. She can live forever. And Jerry is like, he needs to live forever. Like, I need Jerry to live forever, I think. Like, it just needs to happen. So that's what I want to try to do for Jerry. And then Athena will probably just live forever anyway, because she's so cool. Like, Athena just broke up a cat fight, by the way. I was sitting outside. There was a cat fight really bad at the neighbor's property. Athena jumps the fence because I almost did it. The cats were fighting so bad. I almost just like, I was like, oh, I'm so tired, but I don't want to. And then Athena just like jumps the fence and like runs over and chases off this other cat. She just broke up a cat fight. I'm like, I love this dog so much. She's so cool. They're so cool. But you know, there's a lot of lessons in everything that I've experienced with my pets in terms of how it relates to human life and caring for human life and caring for life in general. All right. All dogs go to heaven. Yeah, I do believe that, because when my grandfather died, he was standing in heaven and he was standing with their Wheaten Terrier, Travis, and he told me to tell Grandma that he was with Travis. So I woke up and I told Grandma, I just saw Grandpa. He was standing in heaven with Travis and he wanted me to tell you. And then long after one of our dogs passed away, Sabrina, I had a really deep connection with Sabrina. We had tons of animals, but her in particular, we were so connected. And I see her in my dreams all the time, little Sabrina. She was just like a little soul dog. So totally, all dogs go to heaven. Alrighty, well, that's it. You're the right kind of people. Love y'all so much. This was such an active stream. Thank you guys so much for commenting and tuning in. At 10 o'clock at night here, all cats go to hell to play games. I know. They're so different. Like, if you ask me if I was a cat person or a dog person, I'm like, their jobs are so different. Like, my dog has a job. She's my security guard. If she just like became a couch potato, I would probably think she was so cute, but also I'm like, you have a job? Jerry doesn't have a job. His job is just to be a pain in the butt all the time. But it's so cute. I can't take it. He's just pure amusement. He's just pure cuteness. That's his job. It's just to be cute. He threw up a mouse on the other day. I wasn't sure if Jerry was eating mice. My vet was like, we can like take an x-ray and find out if he's eating mice. But I was like, no, I already spent enough money here today. He threw up a mouse the other day. And it would look like a little piece of sushi sashimi with like feet and a tail. It was, my cat's eating mice. Like, he's a terror. And no wonder he's like so husky, because he's out there eating mice. But it's funny because then he like comes in to cuddle. It's like so funny. Curious about the Christmas Eve conspiracy, seeing the signs and the culture everywhere. Yeah, the conspiracy about them opening Lucifer's tomb. I know, it is very interesting. I am excited to see that too. I'm curious to see that too. Sedona psychopath. A lot of women go missing in Sedona. Well, it's probably because you're not supposed to stay in Sedona. Because I've been to Sedona. I would not live there. Absolutely not. Unless I was some crystal tit witch trying to be some crystal tit whore. I would get out of Sedona. Sedona is a very dark place. I would absolutely get out of that. I think at one point, Sarah Adams was trying to move from Sedona to Austin. Funny, she didn't make it here because, bitch, you're not allowed. Bitches from Sedona, you're not allowed here. Stay in your hell that you've created where you're from. Sedona is dark as FUC. I've been there. I've gone to conferences there. I've camped there. It is a weird place. The people that love it just stay there because it's a weird Vermont-like cult. Just stay there. Is James still rapping? Yeah, he is. He is. He said he just wrote like 40 songs. Sent me a snippet. I guess that's a good way to expend your creative energy. Keep writing music. Yeah, cats are like reptiles. Yeah, they're like lions mixed with snakes. They're like little lions, but then they mix with snakes. That's why they hiss like snakes. They're like little lion snakes, cats. Yeah, stray cats are the bomb. They keep the mice and roaches away. That's right. They got a job too. Are some of us undercover agents for ET groups with cloak ships hovering above us? Have you seen cloak ships hovering above you? It's possible, but I'll tell you what, I've been invited by other ET groups that were not in alignment with me. They just wanted me to feel some type of superiority. And I was quickly like, I didn't invite this in. So I pray, Jesus Christ, protect me from anything that's not meant for me. And then they went away. These were the Arcturians, these Arcturian New Age people. The Arcturians kept visiting me. And then I had a good friend, Ari Ruiz. I haven't heard from her in a long time, but she was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. She was like, are you inviting them in? And I said, well, no. She's like, you need to pray protection over yourself because they shouldn't just be involving themselves in your life. You see, Jesus Christ is the litmus test. He's the filter. So if you think that you are part of an ET group and they're your family, just be careful because they might just want to abduct you and use you as slaves or food. Because this is what they do. If you don't come to the protection in the filter through Jesus, these extraterrestrial groups, they will cloak themselves and they will appear as if they're healing you and bringing you revelation and giving you fantastical experiences, but they're just something demonic because you're not protecting yourself through Jesus Christ. So probably not. We're here to be human. We're here to help the human race, in my opinion. Gomez lived in Sedona for 10 years, lots of spiritual warring happening. It was great, beautiful, but dark. Yeah. I mean, I got out of Austin, great, beautiful, but dark. Got out of Austin. Now I lived right outside of Austin because it was great, it was beautiful, but it's dark. So I got out and I let the harvest eat itself up. You come in, you do your work, you create, you like gather what's salvageable, and then you get out. And in the Bible, it says that the devil overcomes the saints because for a time being, the devil does overcome the saints because it's your job to get out, get away. In my experience, and it sounds like in Gomez's experience also. What's my favorite wine? Right off the top of my head, there is a local winery, William Chris. It's so gross because my Jewish boyfriend, William Christopher Booth, and then these people open up this winery, William Chris. But I gotta say, you know, they're one of their white wines is like $25 a bottle, and I haven't gotten it in years, but it's good. William Chris, local winery. There's so many wineries around here though, but I don't really have any friends, so I don't really go to them anymore. But when I did have friends, you know, I kind of knew more about the local wineries. But in my memory, yeah, William Chris just winery, they make good wines. If he's cool with it, can you post some of his stuff? So yeah, I mean, eventually for sure. But I do have 2 CDs on the way, old material that he recorded with like a interviewer. It was like he was on a radio show. There was 2 of them that are not on the internet, and they should get here. I thought they were going to get here today, but they're going to get here tomorrow probably. Excuse me. So I do have some new but old material of James Casbolt's that has never been seen before, and I'm going to share it with you as soon as I get it. We were going to share it for a donation, but we just decided to just share it. So That's the new plan. As soon as I get it. I thought I was gonna get it today, but tomorrow. And then yeah, the new material maybe will come out soon. I don't know exactly. It's hard to know exactly like how we should spend our time right now because we're being pulled in so many different directions. Also, the energy is so volatile, not in a bad way, but busy. So priorities might be a little different at the moment. Blood Raw Truth had an ET observing me. Its skull was shaped like a king's crown. Showed me the mountain they took Jesus up, and inside was layers of hell. Interesting. Yeah. It's layers. I've seen it too. There are layers to hell, and we are sitting in the fulcrum, and then above us is heaven. So some people come down from heaven, and then everything in hell comes up and is here. That's why it's gross. That's why it's disgusting. Um, yeah, you do the work and then you're spit out. Exactly. So this is the way it works. You go in, you do God's will, and then they spit you out. That's the point. They spit you out. You do the work and then they spit you out. This is why we are not a prideful people, because you do the work. Austin, Texas spit me out. Happily so. Don't want to be there anyway. A pridefulness would keep you there, and then you become the sick thing that was predatory towards you. This is why it's important to get away from all the handlers and all the dark people in your life, because if you have such a pridefulness to stick around, to fight harder, then you become the enemy that you once hated. Do you understand how this works? And I noticed this with the super soldier paradigm. A lot of super soldiers are so bitter they didn't get free because they're so angry and prideful. They now become the evil people that once were predatory towards them. So you were right in getting out. This is the whole point, and this is biblical. The devil will overcome the saints. This is the way it's supposed to go. And then the redemption comes later, once you're out of the situation, once we're all out of the situation. But a lot of people decided to sit back and not sit back. They decided to like fight harder and become the thing that they hate. Do you know how much that happens? Way too much. I see it time and time again. I see it day in and day out. I saw it today. I saw it today with a fellow quote unquote super soldier. He's just becoming everything he hates. And I don't want to say this to him straight up because he can't hear it, but I see this is what he's becoming. Yeah, he's powerful. Yeah, he's great, but he's becoming the thing that he hates. And he can't see it, but I see it. And I'm just monitoring it from a loving perspective in hopes that at the very last second, he can be redeemed. But this is happening with a lot of people right now. Sticking around at a job, how we're like everyone's super negative. Like you were supposed to leave that job. There's a spiritual segregation. You were supposed to leave the job of all the muggles. I worked in a job, it was like a corporate setting. It was like a cult. And it's like you got to get out. Don't stay around and like try to like fight the cult. You just become sick like them. Just get out. I got out as soon as I freaking thought I should. Just get out. And I'm not just like praising myself in contrast to other people, but like this is the point. If you're in a job with a bunch of negative people and they suck ass, get away from them. Don't fight against, stop fighting them. If you're in a relationship with someone who's such a dickhead, get away from them. Stop fighting them. If you need to stop talking to your family for a year, get away from them. Stop fighting them. The fact that people keep going back and keep fighting, they're going to become the thing that they hate. This is how this works. I'm so glad you pointed that out. Favorite Britney Spears album? Probably all of them. I want Britney Spears to get free. In some sense. Chew you up and spit you out and then mad you didn't say thank you. No, I do say thank you. Thank you for being so crazy that I had to get away from you. Box 5 says it's easy to become what you hate. It is too easy to become what you hate. This is such good advice, Box 5, saying it's too easy to become what you hate. Thank you for pointing that out. It is way too easy in this world to become what you hate because you have to drop your pride. Stop fighting, get away, live peace. The ultimate rebellion is to live in peace, to live a normal life, which is not easy. I've been trying to do it. I'm pretty close to it. I cook, I clean. This is like my favorite thing. I go to work. I'm just like, eh, like not a super soldier, but like still kind of, talking on the internet. But like I think of a day in 2025 where like I don't do any of this content anymore because maybe the government at some point will stop lying. And then I don't have to create such a community around the government lying. I can just create content about cooking and cleaning. This is actually what I want to do. I just watch other videos of girls, Japanese girls, like the way they live is so like methodical and interesting. And I'm like, wow, like these people are so peaceful. Like, what's that like? And I study their routines and I watch their videos, just cooking and cleaning and just like healing themselves and taking care of themselves. And I'm like, this is really cool. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to be doing. I don't even necessarily want to have to do all this stuff. It's just our government keeps lying, so I have to keep talking. But in reality, I just want to make videos about like the dinner I made tonight, right? Like the cleaning little mechanisms that I have that are cool, like for other women. I think a lot of the audience is mostly men here, but truthfully, I just want to share videos about cooking and cleaning. Kill the servant. How many Britney clones are there? That's a good question. It's a really good question. All right. Well, that's not you, the right kind of people. Love y'all so much. Have a beautiful night. And I will talk to you again really soon. Thanks so much for all your interactions and your comments, criticisms. I appreciate it. Community in general, I just appreciate y'all. Like, please stick around. All right. Check you later.